Walking in faith, trusting God's plan for your life. Do you ever feel like life is overwhelming and that you don't know what the future holds? You are not alone. We all face times of uncertainty, doubt, and fear. However, no matter the circumstances, God has a plan for each of our lives and promises to never leave us. Welcome, kindred soul. I'm honored to be here with you and share spirit-led messages to nourish your soul. As we go through the teachings, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. Return anytime you want clarification or simply want more nourishment. At the end, I will be providing you with the option of extended teachings if you wish to continue. Let's open the best frequency by speaking words of positivity. I am light, loved, and whole, created and designed for a purpose. I give and receive abundance, and work with all my heart as I open the pathway for others. Understanding God's promise for our faith. Faith is the foundation of our relationship with God. It's what connects us to Him and allows us to experience His grace and love. As believers, we know that faith is not just a one-time decision, but a journey that we must continuously walk in. And in this journey, God has promised to be with us every step of the way. God's promise for our faith doesn't mean that we will never face challenges or difficulties. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The promise of God's presence is what gives us the strength to overcome these challenges. As we walk in faith, we may experience times of doubt, fear, or uncertainty, but God promises to be our guide and our refuge through it all. God's promise for our faith is that He will always be with us, guiding us through the challenges of life, and empowering us to live a life that reflects His love and grace. May we cling to this promise as we walk in faith and continue to trust in God's plan for our lives. God's plan for our faith journey. God has a unique plan for each and every one of us when it comes to our faith journey. He knows exactly what we need in order to grow closer to Him and become the person He created us to be. However, it's important to understand that this plan may not always align with our own desires and expectations. Sometimes, we may face challenges that shake our faith or cause us to doubt God's plan for our lives. These obstacles may come in the form of a difficult situation at work, a health issue, or a personal struggle that seems insurmountable. It's in these moments that we must remember that God is still with us and has a plan for us. One of the most powerful examples of God's plan for our faith journey can be seen in the life of Joseph. He faced incredible trials and tribulations, from being sold into slavery by his own brothers to being falsely accused and imprisoned. Despite all of this, he continued to trust in God and follow His plan for his life. In the end, Joseph's faithfulness was rewarded, and he became a powerful leader who saved his people from famine. In the same way, God has a plan for each of us that will ultimately lead to our growth and fulfillment. This plan may involve challenges, but it will also be filled with blessings and moments of joy. Our role is to trust in God and allow Him to guide us on this journey, even when we don't understand the path we're on. Ultimately, our faith journey is not just about our personal growth and development. It's also about spreading God's love to others and sharing the hope that comes from a relationship with Him. As we trust in God's plan for our lives, we become vessels for His love and grace, and we have the power to make a positive impact in the lives of those around us. The challenges we may encounter in walking in faith. While our faith in God brings us hope and joy, we may still face challenges in our faith journey. In fact, trials and hardships are often the times when our faith is put to the test. However, these challenges should not discourage us. Rather, they should serve as opportunities for growth and strengthening our faith. One of the biggest challenges we may encounter is doubt. We may question whether God is truly present in our lives, or whether He truly has a plan for us. This doubt can lead us to feel lost and confused, unsure of where to turn. However, we must remember that doubt is a natural part of faith. It's okay to question and seek answers. But instead of letting doubt consume us, we can use it as a motivation to dive deeper into our relationship with God. Another challenge is fear. We may fear the unknown or what's to come, especially if we don't know how God's plan will unfold in our lives. However, we must remember that fear is not from God. Instead, we can lean on His promises of peace and comfort. We can also take comfort in knowing that God's plan is always good and that He is with us every step of the way. Lastly, we may face persecution or ridicule for our faith. The world may not understand or accept our beliefs, and we may feel alone or ostracized. But we must remember that our identity and worth come from God, not from the opinions of others. We can also take comfort in the fact that Jesus Himself faced persecution and rejection during His time on earth. As we face these challenges, we can cling to His example and trust that He is always with us. Overall, challenges will come in our faith journey. But by keeping our eyes fixed on God and His promises, we can overcome doubt, fear, and persecution. We can trust that He has a good plan for us, and we can continue to walk in faith, one step at a time. Strengthening our faith through prayer. One way we can strengthen our faith is through prayer and reading Scripture. Prayer is a direct line of communication between us and God. It allows us to express our fears, doubts, and concerns to Him, and also gives us the opportunity to give thanks and praise. Through prayer, we can seek guidance, wisdom, and comfort, and find peace in knowing that God hears and answers our prayers. Reading Scripture is also vital in strengthening our faith. The Bible is not just a collection of stories, but a guidebook for our lives. It teaches us about God's love, His plan for our salvation, and provides us with wisdom and direction for our daily lives. By reading Scripture regularly, we can deepen our understanding of God's character and His promises, and find comfort in knowing that He is always with us. In addition to prayer and Scripture, surrounding ourselves with other believers who encourage and support our faith can also help us to stay grounded and committed to our journey. Joining a Bible study or attending a weekly church service can be beneficial in providing us with a community of believers who can offer accountability and guidance. Ultimately, strengthening our faith through prayer and Scripture is a continuous journey. It requires intentionality and discipline, but the reward is a deeper relationship with God and the ability to trust Him in all circumstances. Trusting God's plan and surrendering control. One of the biggest challenges we face when it comes to living a life of faith is the need to surrender control. We often find ourselves wanting to hold on tightly to our own plans and agendas, instead of trusting in God's plan for our lives. But the truth is, God's plan is always better than ours. He knows what's best for us, even when we don't understand it ourselves. We can find comfort in the fact that God has promised to guide us and protect us every step of the way. So how do we go about surrendering control and trusting God's plan for our lives? It all starts with prayer and scripture. When we spend time in conversation with God, asking for guidance and direction, we open ourselves up to hearing His voice and discerning His will. In addition, studying Scripture can help us to better understand God's character and the ways in which He has worked in the lives of His people throughout history. This can provide us with a foundation of trust in His plan and a greater sense of peace as we navigate life's challenges. Of course, surrendering control is easier said than done. We may still find ourselves struggling with fear and anxiety, especially when faced with uncertainty or adversity. But as we continue to lean into our faith, we can draw strength and courage from God's promise to be with us always. When we let go of our need for control and trust in God's plan for our lives, we can experience a deep sense of peace and freedom. We can live with purpose and passion, knowing that we are part of something greater than ourselves and that God is leading us toward a greater good. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or uncertain about your faith journey, remember to trust in God's plan and surrender control. Seek guidance through prayer and scripture, and lean on your faith community for support. With God's help, you can walk confidently in your faith, knowing that He has a plan and purpose for your life. Living a life of faith and sharing God's love with others. Living a life of faith goes beyond just believing in God and following His plan for our lives. It also involves sharing God's love with those around us. One way we can live out our faith and share God's love is by serving others. Whether it's volunteering at a local food bank or donating to a charity, serving others shows God's love in action. It's also important to be a good listener and offer encouragement and support to those who are struggling. By being a source of comfort and hope, we can share the love of God with those around us. Another way to share God's love is through our words and actions. Our lives should reflect our faith and demonstrate the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Finally, we can share God's love by sharing our own stories of faith and salvation. Testifying to what God has done in our lives can be a powerful witness to others. By sharing our personal experiences with God, we can encourage others to seek Him and trust in His plan for their lives. Thank you for listening to this teaching. If you would like to go further with this teaching, or any others, please visit firstlightteaching.com. I also want to thank any of you who may have donated. Your blessings have provided me the opportunity to bring this to you and share my light with the world.